jumps into it, and I gotta work on the fade on that.
Yeah.
So welcome one and all to.
Yes. I don't have a drum roll, or do I? Let me see.
Let's do that again.
No, I have. Well, no, that's more of a joke thing.
That's more of a joke thing, right? I'll do it again. Maybe you could do the explosion sound. #100th episode. Welcome, one and all, to the 100th episode of the Galaxy of Geeks podcast. Holy crap! How the hell did we do 100 episodes?
Well, we got there.
Wow. What a, you know what? Pat ourselves on the back for that one, because we've had a lot of starts and stops throughout the history of the show.
Yeah.
And
self high five.
Yeah, self high five. You know, thanks everybody who's been hanging in there with us through all the years of doing this show. We really appreciate all you. Thank you for everybody who's found us recently. Thank you for everybody that's always subscribed to the audio version of the podcast before we even started doing a live stream. And geez, I can't even believe it. It's like 100 episodes of this show. This is great, man. Thank you for being an awesome co-host and for helping me get this going. This was your idea, man. This was your idea. You're like, let's start a podcast where we just talk about the stuff that we were talking about on Messenger.
Right. Yeah, that was basically it. It's awesome. I mean, most shows don't make it past 5 episodes. So getting to 100, you know, is a big deal. At least for me it is. And I'm trying to look up the exact date
of the first episode. So when we very, very first started doing this show, we actually had 2 other co-hosts. So there were 4 of us. We had Caesar Cruz and Ian Gonzalez, who I know Ian is still in the Facebook group and participates every now and then. I don't know if Caesar's, but hey, you know, when we started out as the 4 of us, it was great. And then, you know, hey, listen, life happens, man, and I get it. And you know, we appreciated them being involved with the show early on and helping to get it going and promoting it. And great ideas and all that, and contributing, and everybody else who's helped out then along the way. But man, oh man, 100 episodes. It's quite an achievement. So I'm super excited, and I'm happy we're keeping it going. This is great, and we've been pretty consistent, you know, since I would say even with the shutdown, the pandemic really forced us to start getting serious about trying to come on and, you know, just talk to people and provide a forum and start taking advantage of using like live streaming and all that. So yeah, it's wow. I'm just I'm blown away by our own achievement.
So the first episode went up on November 14th, was a Saturday, 2015.
Holy smokes. Been doing the show since 2015?
Yes, we have.
Wow. Look at that, everybody. Since 2015. You've been along for a ride with the Galaxy Geeks.
There you go.
Geeking out with us. Yeah, and it's funny because, you know, there's been so many incarnations of the show as far as how we used to record it. Like, I think about all the different ways we used to record this show, like on Skype, and then we were using the heck were we using for that other cloud-based software.
Yeah, there was something else before StreamYard that you started using.
Be Live I used for a bit, and that was like all right, but I really like StreamYard a lot. I mean, and I know you've gotten into OBS and using now you use Restream, right? Was that what it is? Yeah,
Restream, which is essentially StreamYard's competition.
It's like basically the same thing.
Essentially, it was cheaper. That's why I went with it. They offered 1-year subscription for like $120. So I was like, okay, sounds good to me.
Why not? So you know, thank you everybody for once again hanging in there with us and subscribing and resharing and commenting and watching the live stream and then listening to the audio version of this show. It's just been awesome. So, and Victor and I plan on keeping this going for as long as we can, and we're happy to do it because at the end of the day, we have these same conversations whether we're recording it or not. So we figured, well, we might as well just record it,
right?
Because it's going to happen anyway.
Yeah, well, and for people, I want people to realize that what you see here is what you get. We're both very real about, our opinions. We're very upfront about things. If we don't like stuff, we say it. If we do like stuff, we say it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what you see is what you get. There's no there's no agenda with anything. I mean, I think that's sprouted up over the years with a lot of the Star Wars stuff that we've talked about.
Oh yeah,
we've been pretty open-minded about everything. We haven't professed to be experts, or we haven't professed to, oh well, this has to be like this because of this lore, and because it isn't similar to a video someone sent me earlier this week to just rile me up.
I know how to push your buttons.
But yeah, it's a lot of fun. I mean, doing this show is one of the highlights of my week. Definitely, just at least sit back for an hour and just space out to geek stuff.
Yeah, I love it too. I mean, it's great. Yeah, we definitely have not pulled any punches on sharing what we thought. I think if anything too, we've had a really good evolution of the show. Where you and I, I mean, self-admittedly, even I, we would talk a lot about Walking Dead back in the day, and I think we realized, man, we're spending more time being negative and just bashing the show. And right. I think for us, we were just like, we don't really want to be like negative. Like we just won't, we didn't like the show. We stopped watching it and we just stopped bashing because we just figured, what, let's just talk about the things we really enjoy. And if we don't like something, we'll say, hey, I didn't like it. But rather than sitting here and spending an hour or 30, whatever, just ripping on something is like, like, what's the point? Might as well talk about the things we like and all that. And if we just don't care for it, we just say, hey, we didn't care for it.
Yeah, it's funny because I have people that ask me every year, what album did you hate the most this year? I'm like, I don't remember. I just remember the ones that I actually like and listen to.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. Oh, man, I'm going to listen to that album that I think is dog crap. It is. No, I'd rather spend that time listening to something that I actually like.
Yeah.
And, get caught up in that moment or, have it fire me up or whatever, as opposed to, not this album again,
Right. Exactly. Like, it's like, why bother, why bother with that? So yeah, with that, let's do what we do best, right? Let's celebrate 100th episode by doing what we do best and start talking about the things that we love to talk about. So, as we've been doing the last bunch of shows, because we've been doing this weekly, Victor and I have figured that, we're going to spend at least the first part of the show following a specific show. And we'll talk a bit about that. And then as we've been doing, then we get into some quick hits on some of the hot topics or just news or rumors, stuff that's going around in the world of geekdom. So we sort of pick out the ones and highlight them. So the last bunch of weeks, if you've been listening and checking us out for the first time, we were following WandaVision. We followed the whole season of that. And then we moved on to The Falcon and Winter Soldier, where we talked about that. And now the show that we're following and highlighting is The Bad Batch, Star Wars The Bad Batch on Disney+. And, you'll sort of, if you're new to the show, you'll sort of get into the gist that Victor and I, while we watch a lot of stuff and whether movies or shows or, reading books, obviously we could talk about things forever and ever, but we figured let's narrow it down to some of the things that we know we're both watching together. We know, and honestly what a lot of people are talking about. So, so we kind of zeroed in on the Marvel properties, the DC stuff, obviously Star Wars, things along those lines. So we will cover other shows and so forth as they come on. But right now, I mean, the things that are coming out consistently are the Disney Plus properties.
Yeah.
It just is what it is. I mean, there are some things on Netflix, which we do get into, but honestly, the things that people are talking about the most are what's going on Disney.
How's that Jupiter Crossing? Is that the name of it?
Jupiter Rising? Yeah, I watched the whole thing.
You have? Okay.
I did. And so before we get into Bad Batch, I'll give my super quick review of it. So I was excited to watch it because we've been talking about this, like, when's the Miller World stuff coming out? Like, I mean, I remember talking about it on this podcast like a million years ago when we said, "Oh, Netflix bought Miller," and we kept saying, "When are they going to do this stuff? When are they going to start releasing this?" So Jupiter Rising is one of the first ones that they have released. They dropped it last week, and I have read nothing but scathing reviews of the show. So I was like, oh, because I remember we both watched the trailer. I'm like, the trailer looks cool. And so I was like, oh boy, this stinks. Like, I can't believe it. So I watched the whole show. It's 8 episodes. I was actually like, wow, it's only 8 episodes. The show does move slow. I'm not going to lie. It is a slow burn. And I think they could have sped things up. But overall, I felt like it did a good job world building. And it ended on a really cool cliffhanger.
Okay.
I hope the show gets picked up again. I hope they renew it for a season 2, because I was like, because by the last 2 episodes, I was like, yeah, I want more. Now I'm getting into this. This is cool. Right. And then it's over. And I'm like, it ends on a cliffhanger. And I'm like, oh man.
Right.
Like, so I will say it's not like this fast-paced, action-packed series. There's a lot of going on. There's a lot of characters. There's multiple storylines, but the core of it is easy to follow. And I actually, they could have done the characters' backstory probably in 1 or 2 episodes. What they did is they stretched it out over like the 7 episodes, even though there were 8. But I think the 7th episode is when they finally wrapped it, and then 8 was just no more flashing back, which they do the flashbacks, your favorite. But I thought they did it well where they weaved it back and forth by telling like the story of how they got their powers and then what's going on present day. So I liked it. I did enjoy it. Yes, it was slow. I mean, was it my most favorite thing? No, but I also didn't. I got worried by the reviews, but I don't think it was as bad as the reviews are making it out to be. I really don't.
Okay.
So, and I thought the acting was good for the most part. But there were some really good standouts for me too. So, I recommend it. I do. I recommend checking it out. But if you want something fast paced like what we're seeing on Disney, that's not it. It's not that way.
Right. And I mean, let's be honest. A lot of these other properties that are coming up from all these other, independent comic brands or whatever. They're not Marvel, they're not Disney, or they're not DC even for that matter. And we already see that those companies each have their own approach to things. So it would make sense that Netflix is trying to go in another direction. If you look at something like The Boys, even that is completely different to everything that we've addressed here. And that's one thing after another. I mean, do you remember there being a slow episode of The Boys?
Very rarely. I mean, there's moments where I try to slow it down, but it's like, holy, just strap on.
Right.
I just got done watching Invincible. And it's awesome. I highly recommend watching Invincible.
Okay.
If you haven't watched it yet. And it's Robert Kirkman, Walking Dead. So it's very much his style of writing for sure. I mean, it was a book before. It was his book that he did in 2000. I forgot. It's 2000. I forgot when it was released, but it's him. He's involved in the show. So the book and the show are pretty lock and step. They even look the same. I mean, it was cool. And that's another one where you're like, oh my God, like it goes in all the dark places that you kind of aren't expecting for sure, especially because I hadn't read the book, so I didn't know where it was going to go. And I was like, holy crap, like was not expecting that. So that's another high recommendation. I would watch that before I watch Jupiter Rising. I'll tell you that. If you're looking for something that's boys-ish, it's animated, but it's got that darker vibe like The Boys. Go for Invincible. And then I would say finish that, then hit up Jupiter Rising.
So from what you're saying, Robert Kirkland has decided to make sure that this story gets told the way that he wants it to be told.
Well, yeah, I guess. I mean, listen, he's got boatloads of money now that he's like Scrooge McDuck. Right. He's got a Scrooge McDuck room where he just swims in money.
In money, yeah.
And he could do things like, sure, Amazon wants to make Invincible. Sure, I'll be involved. And I'll make sure it's this and that. And it was good. It was good. I actually was at a bar last night and I overheard people talking about it. I was like, all right. It actually made the jump to people talking about it inside of a bar.
Well, that's a huge leap.
It is. So yeah, I thought it was cool. So I would watch that before I watch Jupiter Rising though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Neither are for children, by the way.
Oh wow. That's funny. That reminds me to first coming to this country and finding the South Park movie in the
children's section.
In the children's section. And I told the person at the store where I was at, I'm like, you might want to move this from the children's section. They're like, why? It's an animated movie. It's for kids. I'm like, let me put it to you this way. Saddam Hussein is wiggling around his junk in the movie.
Yeah.
And he's wiggling around all types of other things that are very adult orientated. I don't think you want a kid seeing this.
No, probably
and
not.
Like, oh, I'll tell my boss. I wasn't even aware of that. I thought that everything that was animated was for kids. Hello, we are in the 21st century.
We're in the 21st century.
We are in the 21st century. Sorry, Marvin the Martian.
So, Invincible is not for kids. Jupiter Rising is not for children.
The Boys, I mean, it's comic book characters, not for kids.
No.
Deadpool. How about my kid wants to see Deadpool? There's
the PG-13 version.
Characters. There's X-Men in it. It's for them, right?
Well, depends what kind of parent you are. Depends what kind of parent you are. All right, so let's get into it. We've been talking about last week we did an extra long episode and we talked about Bad Batch, the episode 1, the premiere episode, and last week Disney dropped episode 1 and 2 in the same week. So we got episode 1 on May the 4th, Star Wars Day, and we got episode 2 on Friday, which was May 7th, I believe, or 6th, or whatever. I don't what. Anyway, we got episode 2, and it was called Cut and Run, and it was basically picks right up where episode 1 leaves off. Right. Not an hour-long episode. It was more to the normal size of the normal length that these episodes are traditionally at. Which was fine. It was fine. I enjoyed that they had the episode a little longer. We did talk about it. Did it drag? Did it not drag? Ultimately, I did watch again. I felt like it was a very good pace. I think it was a good way to bring us into this world, get us up to date, and launch us on this new adventure.
Right.
And episode 2, Cut and Run, did not disappoint. I felt like it was a great continuation of the storyline. Brought back, once again, some old faces from Clone Wars. Mm-hmm. Which was nice. So, and I didn't write down everybody's names. So once again, as Victor was saying at the top of the show, the thing about us, like we can talk about this stuff, but Lord help us if we can remember anybody's names from the show.
Yeah, I already screwed up Jupiter Rising, so
But we see the clone that left. We see the one clone that was in Clone Wars that left, and basically left and defected, and went and started a family. And went into hiding on this world, and this is where we see our heroes, the Bad Batch, land because they're looking for ways to disappear, as they have at the end of the last episode had escaped Camino, and they are all wanted fugitives by the Empire at this point, and they have Omega with them, the young clone girl that they basically stole, saved, kidnapped, but were basically given for protection. And we see this pick up where they're once again landing at this planet because they want to figure out how to disappear and blend in. So they go to the one place they know with the one person they know who's been able to successfully do that. And it's this clone and his wife, who he married a not Twi'lek, because Twi'lek's the other species, but like, or maybe it is Twi'lek. Sorry, he married a Twi'lek, which is like Hera. So he married a Twi'lek wife, and they have 2 children, and they're living on this basically a farm in complete anonymity. If I said that right, I probably didn't say that word right. And we get this, they are there trying to figure out how to blend in. We find out that Rex was just there. They had just mixed Rex,
right?
Which is a nice callback to basically the end of Clone Wars, because we know Rex and Ahsoka had successfully performed a procedure to disable the chip in Rex's brain, the inhibitor chip, to make him not want to kill her, and it was a cool little nod to that we know Rex. We knew Rex is alive and well, but it was nice to see that they had just missed Rex and that he was there. And this is where it sort of comes to light about the inhibitor chip, because Omega basically says, "Hey, the inhibitor chip," and they're all like, "What?" And then Echo is like, "Yeah, it's the inhibitor chip." Like,
yeah, what did you guys think it was?
Yeah, what did you guys think it was? And that's where they all like, "Oh wow, that's how Order 66 came out." We find out that the clone that's in hiding, he's looking to get off world because the Empire is now there, and they're taking ships, they're registering people. Like, that's the whole thing. Like, they want to make sure everybody's registered in the galaxy. And this is where we see you got to have a chain code to get off. You have to have a chain code. So you got to register to get a chain code to be able to do things like get off world.
Yeah. The other thing too is this episode to me was like a bridge to where we see Rex initially in Rebels as well, because he was living that kind of same lifestyle as well, like lost on a planet. Like the 3 of them it was Rex, Hawk, and I forget what the third clone trooper's name was, but they were getting fat, living off the fat of the land, basically, So, it also made me think, was this visit what cued them? This was what they had to do to survive, kind of a deal. Because when with this episode, when they were trying to get off world, they were just looking for some place where they could live a similar semblance of life. Right.
Yeah, exactly. And I definitely got that little sense of that we that this is what they're looking to do, and I like that there was some parallels here a little bit with did you feel that it was some parallels with Mandalorian a little bit with the storyline, just a tad, with the fact that he's got Echo, or I'm sorry, that Hunter is got Omega, and he's trying to give Omega to the family because he's like, listen, she's going to be better served there. And ultimately, Omega, just fast forwarding to the end, but Omega chooses to stay with him. Yeah. I don't know. I felt like some echoes of Mandalorian there a little bit. I mean, not like 100%, but just like that bond that these two are already beginning to create.
Yeah, I've seen people say that, similar to Ezra as well, and similar to Ahsoka, and how, they started out as kids and they grew with time and so on and so forth. I mean, let's be honest. Lucas and Filoni and anyone else involved in this, if something works, they're going to keep using the foundation or the blueprint of what they've used to release successful stuff. Much like, and we've talked about it here, I've seen a meme, already. They had Ahsoka, started out annoying, became awesome. Ezra started out annoying, became awesome. And then it says Omega, already awesome.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. There's definitely a lot of mystery surrounding her, exactly what she is or what she's capable of. And, it's going to be cool to see how this all, builds out. Again, we've talked on several occasions about how they've got all this time to fill. They've got all these stories and places and time to fill. Obviously, this is between episode 3 and 4.
Mm-hmm.
But there's still a lot of stories that can be told in parallel to everything that we know already.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean, as we said before, you and I live in the same timeline, but we're in completely different worlds. We're in 2 different continents, 2 different sides of the world. So, just because I'm going out for pizza doesn't mean that you're, attached to me and also going out, for pizza. It's different. You're doing your thing, I'm doing my thing. So it's kind of the similar thing. We could have things where they overlap stories with characters that we know, and I'm sure that's going to happen. I mean, again, you said it's happened here, but it'll probably happen with more predominant characters in the future. You pointed out the whole Kanan connection with the first episode. So, I mean, I'm sure we'll see somewhere down the line where an adult Kanan will run into them.
That would be pretty cool if it comes back a little full circle like that. Or because or they even run into a younger Kanan again. I don't know if they're going to do any time jumps, but it'll be interesting. So the big prevailing theory here is that Omega is basically the culmination and at the height of the clone technology.
Okay.
And that she is actually a vessel for the Emperor. And that the Kaminians have successfully fused midichlorians with the cloning technology to create a force-sensitive clone. So this is the prevailing theory because everybody's feeling is the chatter going on, and I feel like we're getting hints of this, that she is force sensitive.
Okay.
And that she could be a force sensitive clone. That is,
what keeps coming to mind as you're describing this?
Yeah. What?
Mephisto.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying this has been the predominant chatter, and I don't think it's impossible because this is sort of pulled from Legends a little bit.
Okay.
Some of that storyline, because the Emperor was, and we did see it. It did pay off in Rise of Skywalker, and we saw a little bit of it in The Mandalorian.
Mm-hmm.
And this is probably why he wants Grogu's blood so bad, is because they're trying to create a clone, a body that is strong enough to hold his spirit, is because he's so powerful with the Force. So you need a very powerful Force sensitive clone body to house his dark side essence. Basically, this is pulled from Legends a bit.
Okay. Because I was going to say this is almost like an Altered Carbon type.
It is actually, which Altered Carbon pretty much, I mean, listen, it's been a kind of a prevailing storyline in all of sci-fi, right? Is
Johnny
floating and mind blending and jumping from body, all this stuff. So, but that's one of the theories as to because, and they even say in this episode, the Kaminians, or however you say it, they don't create things without purpose. There's no they have purpose and intent for creating. And so what is her purpose? And that's what it is. And that's what they go, we don't know what her, why would they create her? What is her purpose?
Right.
And so that's a big mystery of the show.
I don't know.
Just saying, I'm not saying this is 100% it, but there's definitely going to be some kind of moment of oh, that's, because why would they, they created a female clone. They created a female clone, the only one.
Right. So we're going to be, so we're going to be watching this, and all of a sudden,
and boom goes the dynamite.
It's just going to happen all of a sudden,
It's just going to happen.
To me, it sounds too complicated.
Listen, it could be, but I mean, if you had ever heard of the Clone War, if you had ever heard of like, so they're building clones to build a clone army, and they're harvesting DNA from Jango Fett to make these. Like, if you didn't know that would happen, wouldn't you say that sounds complicated to you?
Not as complicated as what you described. What you described is like a whole other level of, because you've always said from the beginning, this is a kid's show.
Yes, and we definitely got some kid-like stuff in this one.
Absolutely. But do you think that with a kid's show, they're going to start to introduce, well, here are the midichlorians, and perhaps we will mutate and it will become a... I don't know. I
don't know.
When you're describing it, again, it reminds me of the whole WandaVision thing where what we want to have happen and what will probably happen are two different things, because people want this so bad that they're looking and pulling for things. They're finding it's like Christian's meme. I have this thing in my mind. Oh my God, it's the thing. He's coming next episode. It's these little things. Oh my God, it's the midichlorians, and it's this and it's that. It's like, okay, yes, it's very probable. It could happen, but I don't see it personally. Doesn't mean that I'm wrong. I think I'm right with that. You could be completely 100% right, but to me, it just seems too complicated, because we look at everything they've done in The Mandalorian. Even okay, let's take a look at the Bill Burr episode, where they could have gone on this like wild goose chase, and they could have spent all this time like with flashbacks and telling you about him fighting for the Imperials and so on and so forth.
Right.
But they told it in a simple way that you didn't need to see all of that to understand what he had gone through, to understand his motivations, how they got from point A to point B, without being overly complicated. There were a lot of moving parts, but the stories are hardly ever extremely complicated. If you, even with the Marvel stuff, outside of with Wanda, but I think Wanda had more to do with, again, people's theories being more what they people wanted things to be done a certain way. So all these theories were coming up, and I've said this to you, I've started watching less of these like Easter egg videos and things. There are some people that I continuously watch,
right,
but there are others that I've bailed on because it's obvious. Reddit user, whatever, he's never failed me before. And you said this a long time ago to me. Sure, if you throw 1,000 theories out there, one of them may stick.
Yeah. I mean, the probability is pretty high.
Yeah. So when you have these people say, well, I told you, I predicted this because Elephant 5978 on Reddit, who has never let me down before. Right. But you've spouted out 13 different theories from all these Reddit users this past week, and one came through. Your batting average kind of sucks. I don't know. Would that be cool? Hell yeah. I mean, that would be some really cool stuff where they're showing that they're not afraid to mix in, some really advanced Legends type stories with this. Because if you think about Thrawn and you think about some of the other things that they've pulled from Legends, they've gradually built to everything. There's been enough of a foundation, for you to latch on before they've started bringing in other things and kind of, throwing like additional layers onto the stories. But
yeah,
I've been wrong a ton of times before. So
yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not saying I 100% subscribe to that theory, but it is an interesting one. I mean, it's just like they obviously introduced this character in the show for a reason. So now it's like, and I know it's just more than just giving the Bad Batch some kind of ongoing mission. It's a lot more than that, because it's which one of these things is not like the other. It's Omega.
Yeah.
So what is her point and her purpose? And I'm sure it wasn't just to be a medical assistant. So there's something deeper going on there. And yeah, I like that they added this element. I also like that, and I love that you said that statement, like, oh, Omega, already awesome, because I love that we're not getting into this like annoying little kid thing. It's actually like she's a lot further along, and there's just like a lot of mystery, and everybody else is trying to figure it out on screen as well, which I kind of feel like is kind of neat that like the audience and the characters on the show are just as like trying to figure it out along the way, like we're trying to figure it out. So I kind of think that's cool. It's not all, well, the characters know, but they haven't told us yet. Like the only people that I really know are the scientists on Camino, the clone scientists, and and right now they're not talking.
And may not be talking for much longer.
Well, yeah. I mean, and this is another thing that you're saying, and I don't know. I mean, could we see? And I don't have an answer for this. So if somebody out there, and it's probably something we should look this up though, honestly. But if somebody out there has an answer for this, please by all means throw it in the comments. Either whether you're hearing this live or recorded, whatever, but throw it in the comments because we'd like to know. Camino, which we get introduced. It's been, but past this timeline. We never visited it in Rebels, as far as I can remember. Certainly not talked about in Rogue One or anything like that. So, was Camino destroyed, as you said, by the Emperor? Did they actually, take over everything? Because we know that cloning technology is definitely part of the Emperor's plan. That's fact. So did he kill everybody to get that technology and steal it and make it his own? Infused it in with Sith science, basically, is what he's did. It's interesting. So like, are we going to see possibly the fate of the Caminos, the Camino planet and the inhabitants of Camino, or are we going to see some kind of like Empire occupation, which basically we're already seeing an Empire occupation, but what happens there? There is a missing gap to that storyline. It'd be interesting to see what they're going to do, because I don't think it's been addressed to my knowledge. It could have been in the comics too. So, in comics are canon now, or one of the novelizations.
So it is Kaminoan. Okay, and Camino did not appear in Rebels. Camino appeared in Clone Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Appeared in a bunch of different books and Bad Batch. And then it's been mentioned in, it was mentioned only in like several books and comics afterwards, but they never went there again. It was just mentioned.
Right. So is there a dark fate for Camino on the horizon that we're going to see? I don't think it's Death Star related. Because it doesn't make sense to me to destroy all that technology if he's stealing it, basically.
Is it the first planet that Vader goes hog wild on?
And that could be.
Because that's something that you brought up last week, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, I said because it wasn't how they painted it in Revenge of the Sith, where he basically becomes Darth Vader, kills all the Jedi, then goes to Jesus. Mustafar, thank you. Kills everybody there, and then has a fight with Obi-Wan, and then is like in the suit. There was actually time that went by.
Right.
I mean, it's not like years, but like time went by.
Right. Sure. So again, do we see a Vader who's like a prototype Vader who doesn't have the fully formed like suit yet? Appear on Camino and just take every single clone out? Because let's be honest, at that point in time, who was stronger than Vader? Maybe Palpatine?
Not maybe. I mean, Palpatine is stronger than anybody. I mean, Vader's not nearly as strong as Palpatine.
Okay.
I mean, Palpatine's the ultimate force in the galaxy. Palpatine can destroy Vader at any time that he wants.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Vader is strong, but the Emperor is just, he's at the height of his powers when he's the Emperor. Like, he is so tied into he is just the ultimate power. Yeah. Vader has, the reason why Vader will never be as strong as the Emperor is because of the internal conflict inside of him.
Mm-hmm.
And it's only then, which we, just going through, it's only through the realization and the fact of his love for his son is the thing that actually helps him to defeat the Empire, because the Emperor can't understand. That doesn't compute with him.
Yeah.
Why, doesn't make sense to him.
And even still, Vader had to bum rush him from behind to,
yeah, well, he was distracted. He was too busy, I'm going to kill you. He's too busy killing Luke.
Yeah. No, that is 100% true.
Christian, we see you, by the way, buddy. I see him. He's in the group. Make sure you grant Facebook access for comments. Go to StreamYard.com/Facebook.
Yeah, just see Facebook user. You could just be a clone for all we know, or
you could be one of the clones.
For all we know, that the next few things you're gonna write out are Roger.
Roger.
He's a clanker.
But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens there. I also, another cool thing about, and then I know we have other topics we want to move on to. But I just want to say, once again, I do think it's cool that, I know it's the little things, but it is, from a fan standpoint, it's kind of cool to see like the development of the Empire and what they're doing and how they're occupying these regions. And we see the start of the registration, and then the chain code and all this stuff. And they're impounding ships, and they're like, what, material ships? Like, no, all ships. They're complete totalitarian takeover from everything.
They're completely filling everything out, which is really cool. Which is, because let's think about it. When we first jump on this story, New Hope, the Empire's there already. We don't know how. We don't know why.
Yep.
They drop Clone Wars on us. I forget if it's a reference
actually how much they drop on us in New Hope.
Right. And it was funny because, as kids, they were like always, I remember friends saying, oh, we're going to get the Clone Wars. We're going to get the Clone Wars. And it took 20 years to get the Clone Wars,
Yeah.
So they brought it to fruition. So I agree with you. It's really neat just to see the whole process, everything that they went through and whatnot. And, I'm excited to see what, we've still got 14 episodes left for this season. I'm excited to see where they take us. Because again, what is Omega? Is she a byproduct of the midichlorians? As you said, is she a, clone / midichlorian hybrid? Is she some type of like ultimate weapon that they don't know about? Maybe she's, what if, here's another thing to kick around.
It's just something. So say this, and I'm going to say one last thing because I had another idea.
You kind of brought this up last week as well. You brought up the Inquisitors.
That's what I was just going to say.
What if Omega's like the first Inquisitor?
That's what I was gonna get at, is that maybe she's possibly the first Inquisitor, the first of the Inquisitors, and that's what they were doing, was creating Force-sensitive clones that they could be used as this like little Force-sensitive, like the Inquisitors, because we know there was more than one. They were different size, shapes, different sizes and shapes, and maybe this was part of the start of that plan, and possibly still carried out, because we only see Omega. Only one, but that doesn't mean that they were growing more or creating more.
And maybe that's what we end up seeing, because let's remember the Inquisitors were kind of under Vader, and kind of under like some of the other admirals.
Yes.
So it's possible that.
And there's no explanation where they really came from. They just show up in Rebels.
And again,
story.
That's Filoni's baby, so it's very probable that, again, much like we're getting an explanation why with the rise of the Empire, they'll fill that data in for us as well.
Yes.
Let's imagine this. Let's say that they are going to do the whole Vader thing where he comes in and he's going to plow through everyone. But the Kaminoans decide to say, hey, we have something for you that may interest you.
Well, there's also, too, Vader may not know that. Yeah, exactly. Vader may not even know because, listen, the Emperor was doing all kinds of stuff that Vader had no idea about. All kinds of stuff. That's right. Buffy was the female Inquisitor, too. Sarah Michelle Gellar. Christian, we know that's you. Just so for it says Facebook user, but I got my app open. I know it's him. But yes.
Yeah, absolutely. That's interesting. And again, what has Palpatine done that we don't know about?
All kinds of stuff, man. All kinds of stuff. I mean, Exegol is like a whole, talk about like Exegol is a whole thing nobody knew about.
Right. So again, to back up my statement from last week, kind of asinine for J.J. Abrams to come out and say, nope, end of the line for all of this.
I've already heard a rumor that it's a 100% rumor, unconfirmed.
Okay.
But that Daisy Ridley's already been asked back by Lucasfilm.
It has to happen.
And that doesn't necessarily mean live action. It could mean voiceover for animated. I mean, it could mean so many things, right? But if it's true, then hey, there you go. The continuation or backstory or side story. I mean, who knows, right? I mean, who knows where they could go? Doesn't always necessarily mean what you think it means.
Could you see them now that you bring that up? And who's the biggest voice actor that's ever had any connection with Star Wars? I can give you a quick hint.
Jude Law? No, just Joaquin Phoenix. Yeah, I mean, agreed. Mark Hamill is, 100%. Like, I mean, talk about somebody who's involved in so many different projects and is like one of the best voice actors out there.
Would it interest you to see a Luke animated series with him?
Yeah.
Let's say they use that as a vehicle to fill in all of the stuff that we kind of saw with the last 3 movies, with his Jedi Academy, with what went wrong. Imagine they used that under Filoni's guidance with Hamill doing the Luke voice to build that story out. Would that be, to quote Martin Landau in Entourage, is that something that would interest you?
It is something that would interest me. It's something that would interest me. The Ramones movie,
for example,
which is actually coming out now, which is actually a real thing.
Is Adrian Grenier playing?
No, Pete Davidson is.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
even still, man.
But when I saw that, all I instantly thought about was that scene from Entourage. Every
time that I bring that statement up, I just hear Martin Landau in my head. Is that something that would interest you?
That's something that would interest you? Yeah. I immediately thought of that.
Mistake.
Yeah. All right. So
wow.
I know. We spent almost, you saw that too? I brought it up.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah. So we've spent almost 45 minutes talking about Bad Batch. But you know what? It's a great show. As of the recording of this, only episode 2 has been released. Episode 3 will be dropping tomorrow. This is a Thursday when we record the show. It'll be out on Friday. So next week's episode, we will be focusing on talking about episode 3 on our reactions to that. So very excited, loving the show. So far, so good, man. So far, so good.
Yes. And we are, just for the countdown purposes, we are 1, 2, 3. We are officially 4 weeks away from Loki.
4 weeks away from Loki, in which case we'll be splitting the time of the show because otherwise we'll be on the show for 4 hours between Loki and the Bad Batch.
Yeah. We're gonna have to do a good job with that.
Yeah, we're gonna have to stay on time for that one. Make sure you hold us all accountable for that one.
Yes.
So, all right. Quick hits. Quick hits.
Okay. Quick hits.
All right. First quick hit released this week. Venom 2 trailer. I don't know what that voice just was. My Venom 2 trailer voice.
What did you think of the trailer?
So I've watched it several times. I gotta be honest with you, man. I'm really excited for this movie. I think it's gonna be cool as hell. I love the opening sequence with him making dinner and singing the song. I mean, it's goofy, but so was the first movie. Like, it's goofy stuff. I like that they're kind of leaning into it a little bit more. Honestly, I dig it. I thought it was cool, and I like where we're setting up. I mean, and then you hear Woody Harrelson's voice come in, and man, I just love Woody. I mean, how could you not love Woody Harrelson? I mean, what a freaking amazing actor he is. I don't care what anybody says. And I love Woody Harrelson. And once again, it's another role where you feel like, God, he's going to have so much fun playing this character.
Right.
That's the sense I got. So, man, this trailer was an awesome piece of marketing. Whoever edited this should win an Academy Award for editing. Jesus, that is an artfully edited trailer. Really well done. The jokes are there. It seems good. The voice, and I know it's still him doing the voice. But did it sound a little different to you? The Venom voice? Even though it's Tom Hardy doing it?
Yeah, they may put like a different effect on it, but I think it's still him.
What did you think?
Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was very, comic booky. I thought the first movie was okay. I mean, I didn't think it was great.
The first movie was surprisingly much better than I thought it would be. I was prepared to hate that film, and I was like, wow, I'm laughing. I actually had a good time watching that movie.
I thought, to me, it was like the after-school special of superhero movies.
Yeah. It's a fair assessment.
From what I've heard, this is supposedly, at least with the way that they've gone with the director and everything else, and the way that they've put things together, there are obviously a lot of callbacks to different things within, the Spider-Verse and Marvel stuff, and it's funny because they're already saying no, Spider-Man isn't going to show up. But man, how can you have the Daily Bugle and not have a J. Jonah Jameson? How can you not have something that pulls into, the lore of Spider-Man?
Do you want me to say it? I'll say it. Peter Parker will not be in Venom 2.
Could he be in an end scene? If we get, okay, let me ask you this. If the rumor that I mentioned before of Sam Raimi doing a Spider-Man 4, could we see Tobey Maguire in an end scene for this? Kind of leaving that caveat out there about a Spider-Verse with No Way Home.
So you're thinking a multiverse thing? Is that?
Yes.
Say anything is possible. It's comic books.
Right.
It's comic books, so anything's possible.
From 1 to 10, likelihood of Spider-Man showing up in this movie.
5.
Oh boy, you really went out there.
No,
On a limb.
I honestly don't think he's showing up in this movie. I really don't think
Okay.
he's showing up in the movie.
So you
I mean,
should say less than
I
5.
think there'll be references to Spider-Man,
Right.
and maybe a lot of like Easter egg and fun stuff like that. But I don't think we'll physically see Spider-Man in the sense of like acting on screen. Maybe an article, or you hear something on a TV, you know, something. But I don't think we'll see a physical manifestation of Peter Parker in this film.
Okay,
in Venom 2.
Let me throw it out to you this way. What about not Tobey Maguire, but what if we see Tom Holland in the, again, post-credit scene? He's gone to San Francisco to get away from...
In the Black Venom suit is what you're saying?
No, I didn't think
you're
that.
Saying, well, he was already in the Black Venom suit. Well, unless you do the Spider-Man Black Venom suit.
Yeah. Well, that's where Tobey Maguire could play into this.
Mm-hmm.
Because he had the suit.
True.
No, but what if it's okay? What if it's Tom Holland who has gone to San Francisco to hide from the whole J. Jonah Jameson thing, and being being told that he's a murderer and all that, and his identity being thrown out there? What if he's gone to San Francisco to cool off? And then at the end of the movie, it's like we see him all of a sudden, and he's like, "Oh, I'm here to start a new life." And there's no way back home because at some point he's got to get from San Francisco to New York somehow.
Yeah, I don't know. I would say once again, anything is possible.
You're saying that it's midichlorians and
I'm saying
a clone and
saying it's midichlorians.
Okay.
Calling it midichlorians.
There you go.
Here we go. Next one. Snake Eyes. First look on EW.
Yep.
Entertainment Weekly. So Entertainment Weekly released a first look at some of the behind the scenes photos of a Snake Eyes origin film. Mm-hmm. And Snake Eyes is being played by Henry Golden. Mm-hmm. And I think from what I've seen, I'm already just sold on these pictures.
Yeah, it looks cool.
There's a lot of cool pictures as I'm scrolling through here on the video, but there's some cool behind the scenes things here. And this is before we see him with the mask on, so this is an origin story. Yeah. But some cool shots here as I'm scrolling through. And we even see Akiko, and we see Scarlet, who is being played by Samara Weaving. And we see our first look at Baroness, which is Ursula Cabero as the Baroness. So we even get a first look at her. So we get a first look at the new Scarlet and the new Baroness. So excited about that. I am. I would love to see them do a really well done, really kick-ass action film, Snake Eyes. Oh my God, it'd be so cool. Snake Eyes. I mean, Snake Eyes is everybody's favorite G.I. Joe character.
Right. It's
so badass.
Fingers crossed. It's closer to Bumblebee.
Yes,
than it is a Michael Bay Transformers.
I hope so. I hope so. It'll be great.
Yeah.
All right. So, Suicide Squad. Everyone dies. So, quote, James Gunn says almost all of the characters will die. And this is coming from comicbookmovie.com. James Gunn recently suggested that a fan was being a bit overly optimistic with his character death predictions for Suicide Squad, but has now stated that almost all of Task Force X will buy the farm.
I have to think that there's a few obvious choices that are going to survive. I mean, there's no way they're killing Harley Quinn. There's no way that after John Cena got his own show on HBO that they're killing his character off.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the guy from Altered Carbon?
Him.
Yeah, him.
I will run down the cast of Suicide Squad, and you let me know.
Okay, so
who lives and who dies.
Did you see Christian's comments?
I did not. Did not.
He is saying, I promise it's going to be an insane ride.
I am sure it is. Well, first of all, Starro's in it, so let's just pause right there. All right, so here we go. Who lives and who dies? Joel Kinnaman, Rick Flag, he plays, by the way. So, Harley Quinn, dead or alive?
Alive.
All right. Rick Flag, dead or alive?
Alive.
King Shark, dead or alive?
Dead.
All right. Savant, dead or alive?
Dead.
Soul Soraya, dead or alive?
Dead.
Bloodsport, dead or alive?
Alive.
TDK, said Nathan Fillion, dead or alive?
Yeah, dead.
Amanda Waller,
alive.
All right. Captain Boomerang, Jay Courtney, dead or alive?
We already saw him die in the first one.
Okay. Well,
dead.
All right. Pete Davidson, Blackguard, dead or alive?
Alive.
All right. John Cena, Peacemaker, dead or alive?
Alive.
All right. Polka Dot Man, dead or alive?
Dead. Deader than dead. I mean, that trailer looks like he bites it really bad too.
Weasel, dead or alive?
Dead.
All right. Javelin, dead or alive? Wow, Thinker's in this? The Thinker? I didn't realize that. All right. Okay. So there you have it.
I think, and I'm looking at the extended cast here. Yeah, I think I not to doubt the guy that actually directed it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that that yeah, you'll see the majority of these people killed off. Again, it's probably just going to be Harley Quinn, Rick Flag.
You're about 50-50 right so far. Thinker is the guy they are yelling at on the roof. If you do this, we kill you. That's what I thought. I'm like it's the Thinker, right? Like the Thinker. I'm thinking of the right villain. Yeah, he has the electric plugs in his head. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. So I think that outside of Harley Quinn, Rick Flag, Bloodsport, Peacemaker, everyone else bites it.
All right. I think that's a fair assessment.
And I'm basing this on a combination of characters and name actors.
Yep. Well, I think that's smart.
Because if this is successful, I'm sure that they'll try to pull off a Suicide Squad 3. There's already kind of, James Gunn is coming back for Galaxy of Geeks 3.
Galaxy Geeks 3, huh?
Guardians of the Galaxy 3. No, we're at 100, damn it.
Yeah, we're Galaxy Geeks 100.
Guardians 3, but if you saw that exchange between him and Dave Bautista this week, kind of makes you think that there may not be a Guardians beyond this. At least not with James Gunn.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely possible. I mean, he could be done with the series and maybe wrapping it up, and maybe Guardians just starts becoming like they're just integrated with, different. They start becoming part of the movies, ensemble movies, things like that. Or could they? Nah, probably not.
Taika Waititi.
Yeah, I mean, but you can't have him direct everything, man. He can't be the everything guy now.
Why not?
Because I need him to concentrate on Star Wars.
He's already said that the new Thor movie is going to be the greatest superhero movie of all time.
Of course he did. Of course he did. All right, moving along.
Yes.
Kevin Feige and Star Wars. So, rumors have been going on for a very long time that Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige may be considering making the leap to Lucasfilm. So going on forever, yes, of course, if you listen to everything, there's a ton of anti-Kathleen Kennedy stuff going on all over the place when you talk about YouTube and any other podcast sometimes you listen to.
Yeah.
And we know Feige has said he loves Star Wars. He's said publicly he would like to do a Star Wars film.
Mm-hmm.
But according to this report published by comicbookmovie.com, which is also in Variety, I believe, is that he is not going to leave the MCU. He plans on remaining in charge there and has no ambition to take over Lucasfilm or be in charge of Lucasfilm whatsoever. Yes, he would still like to do a film, but he has no intention of taking over. And I think that's smart, actually. I think it's very smart because, you know what? I mean, MCU is huge.
Yes.
It's huge.
And
he just got Star Wars. I mean,
yeah. And he just got the TV part of it as well. So they merged the film and TV together. So he's already absorbed that.
Yeah.
And he's got a good thing going. Without him, Marvel doesn't get to the heights that they've gotten.
Right.
It's wishful thinking on fans' behalf, thinking, oh, well, he could do this with Star Wars. There's no guarantee that he'll be able to satisfy you fickle sons of motherless goats.
No one hates Star Wars more than Star Wars fans.
Yeah. So, I mean, no, it's not going to happen.
No, I agree. And it always come out and said it's not happening. And honestly, I mean, we've talked about this a few times, but I'll just say it one more time, is that you and I think, are very much in agreement on this statement, is that, yes, has Star Wars made some missteps since being acquired by Disney? Yes, they have. Did they rush things? Yes, they absolutely have. I think they got too far ahead of themselves without having from what I see, could be completely wrong because what the hell do I know? But I just, from an outsider looking in, it seems like they didn't have a full plan. They started with a plan. They changed a lot of things on the fly. Now they've settled into a little bit better. They have more of the right people in place. Once again, you got Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, Taika Waititi. I think what they've done, the directors they're bringing in to do these different films, wonderful. So I just say, you know what? It just needed time to settle in, and I feel like we're just going to keep. And listen, Mandalorian's been great. Bad Batch seems to be coming out great.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens here. I'm not ready to say, oh my God. I mean, I think we're finally settling to a good spot here. So I think don't touch anything right now. Leave everything as is. And obviously, as you just said, I mean, come on. He's doing the cinematic universe. He's got the TV stuff going on. Like, there's only so much a person can handle.
Right. Here's the thing to throw out there. Is it probable that he's consulted on Star Wars stuff?
I would say yes.
Yeah, 100%.
Behind closed doors, absolutely. Why wouldn't you have him say, hey, why doesn't he take a look at this? I mean, why not? I mean, he's such a talented guy, and he loves Star Wars.
Right. And it's what you said before. Marvel is currently bigger than Star Wars. They're both Disney companies. So it would make more sense for them to say, as you just said, let's have Feige give us his opinion on this. Let's have him consult. Look, he did that with Sony when it came to Venom, when came to, the Jared Leto movie, supposedly as well, Morbius. Yep. He's worked with other companies to help better their product to make sure that Marvel looks great overall.
Of course.
Why wouldn't he do that with Star Wars if he's asked to?
Absolutely.
And he's not credited on Venom or anything like that. So is his touch maybe felt on what Star Wars has become or in the direction that they're going? I would say absolutely. Does it mean that he's getting credit for it or he absolutely needs to be there all the time? No, I don't think that's the case at all.
No, I don't think so either. I think, listen, he's there. He's an asset. I mean, I mean, it's said. But, I mean, listen, let's just to put this to rest. He's not taking over Lucasfilm.
No.
Sorry, everybody. He's staying right where he is, and I applaud that. It's good move. Stay in your lane. Concentrate on that stuff. All right, so moving along. Ghost Rider rumors. So big rumor is that Ghost Rider is rumored to have a cameo in Doctor Strange in a Multiverse of Madness. What do you think about that?
I saw a show that I usually watch on YouTube, and they brought up several Ghost Rider rumors. And it was funny because the presenter led in by saying a show that Mephisto could actually show up on.
Sure.
But what they said was that Marvel will be using Ghost Rider 100% in the future. The problem is they don't know which version of Ghost Rider they're going to use yet, because there was the again, there's the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. version, which was Robbie Ramirez, I think was the name.
I think it was Robbie Ramirez, and then obviously the Nick Cage version.
Right. So there's one with the bike, there's one with a car. There's, I think, 3 or 4 iterations of Ghost Rider.
Gabriel Luna.
Gabriel, isn't that the character?
Sorry, that was the actor's name. Was cast as Robbie Reyes. Yes, sorry.
Robbie Reyes. See,
Robbie Reyes.
Okay, so
it says an incarnation. So I'm just reading this article once again. Comicbookmovie.com has said, according to the hashtag show, a new incarnation of Johnny Blaze is set to make a cameo appearance in Doctor Strange and a Multiverse of Madness. They don't share any details, but claim to have a concept art featuring the character.
But see, if it's Multiverse of Madness, you could technically show both.
Well, I mean, listen, and this is the thing. So this goes into another discussion, which we would probably have another hour show about, and we've talked about this so much and so many theories, but is Multiverse of Madness going to be the film that begins to introduce us to these other Marvel characters because of the multiverse, and whether the quick ins and outs, which is what we also talked about being with Spider-Man, No Way Home. Is this how we get introduced to other characters in the Marvel universe because we have to go to these alternate times, and even to an even other extent, Loki, because of timelines and going. Is this how we're going to start getting introduced to, even if it's very quick, on and off, bringing these characters in, like the X-Men,
like Ghost Riders? You just mentioned,
like Ghost Rider,
Fantastic Four,
right? Exactly. So, can we see more than just a Ghost Rider start to show up? I mean,
but like you said, it can be a single blip where we see him, which leads to them doing something else that doesn't necessarily have to be a movie. It could be a series.
Right, exactly. Because what do you need a whole movie for when you can do a series on Disney Plus?
Yeah, you can do a
6 episode or
episode series, and that's it. And then, as you're saying, he's then absorbed into the rest of the MCU, and he's brought in here and there.
Right, exactly. I personally, for one, would love if this is true. So I hope that we actually see Ghost Rider show up in Multiverse of Madness. Does not need to be in the whole film. Right. But I think it'd be cool to acknowledge him and do like a quick thing with him, and then we're on to like whatever's going on in this movie.
Robbie Reyes, I will say, within Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was a really cool story arc. Similar to Johnny Blaze, in the sense that he sold his soul to the devil to save someone, and his whole thing is that he was going after people that had wronged his grandfather, I believe, different business associates that led to the death of his grandfather. And what tied that into the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was one of the, I think the company that he worked for had been working with the Terrigen stones, which is what turned people into Inhumans, since they couldn't use the mutant term.
Right.
Again, just wild speculation on my behalf. Let's say they do use that connection somehow. Let's say they do, for some reason, loop in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and they bring up the Terrigen stones and all that, and then all of a sudden say, well, the Terrigen stone didn't work with everyone because they didn't have the X molecule in their DNA. These are actually mutants. They're not Inhumans. So, right. I mean, there's still a lot of different ways that they can play that.
Yeah, exactly.
And again, you know that if you give me a second of, again, Ghost Rider, a second of like in X-Men First Class, let's not forget about Wolverine showing up for a split second in a bar where he tells Xavier and Magneto to go scratch, essentially. And that was it. That was enough for people to blow up in the theater.
That was great. It was great. I mean, that's all you really need in some of these things, just to get everybody excited. So Christian is saying the Darkhold played a huge part in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. of S.H.I.E.L.D. Ghost Rider arc, and the Darkhold showed up in WandaVision.
So there you go. That's another way that they can piece this together. We know that Wanda is in the multiverse of madness.
Yeah, potentially the big bad.
Again, I think given the fact of what the Ant-Man movie is named, Ant-Man is coming out a year from the Doctor Strange movie, so I could potentially see all of next year, all of 2022 being all multiverse stuff up until we get to Ant-Man, and we're seeing that at the end of that, they already did the whole Fantastic Four logo.
Yeah. Yep.
So, or maybe that's where it all ends. Maybe they need, Reed and Sue Richards to put an end to the multiverse somehow.
Possibly. I mean, just with all their, and maybe even Doom.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, how many times have they had to work with Doom, and Doom's been like, part of saving. I mean, listen, Doom's still a villain, but self-serving, right?
Yeah. So. Let's just hope that once Doom appears, we get more of a Quiet Riot-looking Doctor Doom as opposed to the crap we've seen in the movies.
Yeah, they're so afraid to do it. Like, just go with it.
It's worked. It's worked for decades. Come on.
I mean, even have rapper Doom MC. He's doing it. He pulls it off great.
Right.
All right. Masters of the Universe.
Did you see the pictures? It's done by the Kevin Smith posted some online today. It's done by the same people that do the Castlevania animated series for Netflix.
I did not see it. I did not have a chance to see it before the show. But I'm going to check it out now. Where is he? Posted on Twitter?
Yeah, I believe so.
All right.
Twitter or Instagram.
And as I'm pulling this up, what were your feelings on that as I'm finding this?
It looks pretty cool.
All right. I'm going to share my screen for those who are watching the video version of this. Kevin Smith has the first look at the Clerks director's Masters of the Universe Revelation. Oh, and this is on EW. Holy. Part 1 drops July 23rd.
It's
wow.
Part 1 is actually 5 episodes.
Man, you fool.
And then Part 2 comes out later this year with another 5 episodes.
Oh, wow. Looks great. Look at him in Battle Cat.
Yep.
I'm digging Skeletor's look here.
Yeah. In what I saw as well, they showed Beastmaster, they showed a bunch other, let's see.
Here's another shot of He-Man and Skeletor fighting. Oh, here's some Orko.
Yeah.
Evil Lynn. She-Ra. That's not Man at Arms, is it?
Could be.
Oh, here you go. Here's the other ones.
Yeah.
Coming to you from Rotten Tomatoes feed here. Oh yeah, Beastman.
Or Beastman, not Beastmaster.
Prince Adam.
Yeah. Sorceress, there's another one.
Let's see the Sorceress. Let's see if that shows up.
Yeah, there's Sorceress with He-Man right there.
Yep. Nice. Sorceress looks great.
Yeah.
Oh, I like what I'm seeing here.
As do I.
Yeah, that's gotta be Man at Arms.
Yeah, I the helmet is silver like Man at Arms was.
I am digging it. All right, I love it. I'm excited. Looking at these pictures has got me excited.
Right.
Well, all right. So July 23rd on Netflix, Kevin Smith's He-Man and the Masters of the Universe.
Hey, who does Buffy play in this? Oh, she's Tila.
She's Tila.
Yep. Skeletor's Mark Hamill.
Perfect. All right. And our last topic of the night for the 100th episode of the Galaxy Geeks, Shang-Chi theatrical update.
Yes. So apparently it has been confirmed that Shang-Chi will get a 45-day release in theaters before hitting Disney Plus. There's no word on whether they're going to release it at the same time on Disney Plus or, $30 like they're going to do with Black Widow.
Right.
But I guess what they're expecting that by that time, a lot of the restrictions, I guess, will be lifted. So there will be more people seeing it in theaters.
Yeah.
And I mean, based on all the content they have coming out, because Eternals drops like 2 months later.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I mean, listen, I don't think they're wrong in making the assumption. I mean, here in the United States, mostly everything's going to be open between June and July 4th here. I mean, July 4th has kind of become like the unofficial day where everything's going to open up again. But I mean, most states are already doing 100% everything open. And I mean, in New Jersey, not the case yet, but we're getting there. So I think that it's a safe bet. And Disney World, Disneyland are both 100% reopened. So barring any other thing, horrible thing, I think they're right in doing it. I think it's a good assumption.
And if you think about it, 45 days, if Eternals comes out 60 days later, that's only 2 weeks.
Right.
So, I mean, it'll have a shelf life in the theaters of that, then Eternals, then so on and so forth.
I mean, they could own the number 1 and number 2 spots of box office. So, and I'm sure on a global level, depending on what, where it opens and what those restrictions are from a global standpoint, we'll have to see. But which is where a lot of these movies make their money. I mean, is on the global side of things.
It's insane because we've talked about this on numerous episodes, but taking it in now, I'm just thinking about this. It's going to be every 2 months we're going to get another movie.
Well, it's been backed up, I mean, the machine is backed up, and so they're just like, got to get these movies out, and they're going to pick and choose the ones that they're going to get into the theater. Obviously, there's more money to be made in the theater right now. I mean,
right.
But there's also money to be made on streaming. So that's what it's like 45 days in and then boom, stream. Like makes sense to me because I think that's the way it should be, honestly.
Yeah, it's going to keep people, let's be honest. There's a ton of things to watch out there, but people that really love this stuff are going to go apeshit with everything that's coming out.
I gotta be honest with you too, man. Like I went to go see Endgame 2-3 times in the theater, but like if I had gone to see it once and they knew they were going to release it digitally like 45 days later, I probably would have bought it on digital like in 45 days and rewatched it or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. It's almost 2 months to the day, September 3rd, November 5th. And then Spider-Man 3 drops a month and 12 days later.
Okay. I mean, it's gonna be Fast and Furious, not the movie, which is also one of those that's coming out too.
But we get in between as well. We've talked about this several times. What if?
Yep.
Hawkeye and Ms. Marvel.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. So
it's gonna be a lot of content to digest, and then we still have Book of Boba Fett at the end of the year.
Yeah, we don't know when Mandalorian drops. Maybe all of this starts to change now with all of these other series dropping.
Potentially, yeah.
Because they've already shifted Loki around.
Yep, they have. So we'll see, man. I think all bets are off. And everybody's doing the same thing. Everybody else, trying to figure it out. Take it as it comes.
The interesting thing that I read today is that their subscriptions are lower than what they've expected.
For Disney Plus?
For Disney Plus, yeah. Like it ramped up really quickly initially, and they expected to be I didn't read the entire article, but they said they were down from where they had projected they would be, especially given the pandemic and everything else. But you've got so many people, watching all types of streaming things, and it varies from country to country. For example, today I was reading how Amazon outside of the U.S., well, I don't know about the U.S., but Amazon in several countries in Europe have the rights to different sporting leagues.
Right.
So, there are people that are spending money on that stuff. There's a lot of different things.
A lot of competition for that $15, that $10, that $9, all the apps that are out. I mean, it's a lot of competition, man. And that's, and then on top of that, like streaming music services, it's like, and at some point people just start making the decisions. What am I watching more of? What am I not watching more of? What can I live without? Like,
absolutely.
What are we using more? If I'm only watching Disney Plus to watch the next Marvel thing, and the next Marvel thing's not coming out for 2 months, a month.
I know people. Yeah, I know people that are doing just that. I know of other people that have decided they're going to wait a few months so that they can watch a bunch of different series at once.
Binge it. Yeah,
binge watch all the stuff, then cancel again, and then come back like in a year.
Yeah, it makes sense to me. I mean, I get it.
Yeah,
I totally get it. So, all right. Well,
cool.
This was our 100th episode, everybody.
Yes.
Amazing. Once again, it's amazing to be here after 100 episodes. I never actually thought we would even get to 100 episodes. Who knew? I didn't even know what we were going to do. I just know that Victor and I get together, and I don't even keep track of it. We get together, we do the show. It's like, and it's like, holy cow, here we are, number 100. So it's very cool. Very, very cool. So great milestone. We're happy to be here. We're happy for everybody's support, which has been outstanding. Thank you all so much for everybody who subscribes to the channel, listens to the podcast, watches live with here. Everybody who's in the Galaxy Geeks Facebook group, who's been in there contributing. It's a whole growing community that's been awesome. I mean, we literally just started it like one day, like on such a whim. Hey, let's just start a Facebook private group and invite a bunch of people in. And now it's, it's up over 200, which is great. It's still growing. So, and if you want to be part of the Galaxy Geeks Facebook group, it's easy. Just go on Facebook and search Galaxy Geeks group and you're in. Done. You get to get in there, contribute, have conversations. We talk about so much more in there than we do on the show because there's just so much to talk about. So all the different properties and, so you can jump in there anytime you want. Feel free to start a conversation. You want to talk about Dune. You want to talk about Jupiter's Rising. You want to talk about a comic book or whatever. Just go in there, join the community and start a conversation because believe me, there's plenty of people in the group that want to have all kinds of different conversations.
Yeah, absolutely. You bring up Doom. I saw this question yesterday. What are people waiting for more, the new Doom or the new Matrix movie?
I say the new Dune. I could actually care less about the new Matrix. I have zero excitement about a new Matrix movie because the last film was so god awful.
Yeah.
And listen, in the original Dune's not great. Oh, I know that's sacrilegious to say. It's not a good movie. It's not a good movie. Josh Parr, Dune is not a good movie.
I can't get to my sound effects fast enough.
I can't. Pad.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it. Sirlacious Crumb agrees with me. Is not a good movie. But that doesn't make that fact that Dune's a cool story. And you and I have talked about liking Blade Runner 2049 and Denis Villeneuve, and I think that his vision is going to do well with Dune. I know the initial stuff, people weren't psyched on the costumes, things like that, but we're just seeing some stills things. So let's watch the movie.
I'm sure they'll do some CGI to make those Oakley gloves look a little better.
Yeah. And you never know. I mean, we have no idea what they're doing. It could have been test photos for all. I mean, who knows? These are promo shots.
Yes.
They're done for PR purposes. Things may not be final concept let's watch the movie and let's judge the film when it comes out. That's what I say.
Look at all the stuff that was behind the curtain in Spaceballs, all the great merchandising. It's similar, some of it could be, as you said, test shots, prototypes, so on and so forth. We don't know. So
much. I mean, listen, Rogue One, 80% of what was in that trailer wasn't even in the final movie. So
right. There you go. That TIE fighter that was coming up all of a sudden.
The greatest shot
ever.
I'm so bummed it wasn't there. I'm like, that was my Facebook banner.
Yep, I remember.
For like ever. Because I was like, what a great shot. And then it's not in the movie. And I'm like, oh, right. I mean, the movie was still amazing, but like, so great.
How many people have speculated onto what was going to happen in that scene?
Oh, it was great. Her staring down a TIE fighter. Be great. You just see her like quick draw, shoot through and hits the guy in the head, and the thing goes down.
Well, I think it was either that or it was
the end.
No, Cassius Andor was in there.
Cassian Andor saving her. Could have been.
Yeah.
But maybe try to get off.
Run because we saw the sequence where she's running towards it as well.
Yeah.
So maybe it was, everything is crumbling and she's running towards the TIE fighter to jump in
and try to escape, get off world.
Again, guys, the podcast is our usual conversations. So there you go. You see the tangents that we run off on. So.
Right. This is it. This is how it goes. This is if you saw our tech streams, this is just the embodiment of our tech streams.
Yes.
This is what happens. So
take that, professional shows.
That's right. That's right. We do it our way.
That's it.
Yeah. But thank you guys all so much. We really appreciate everybody who's hung in there, supported the show, liked, shared, subscribed, did all the things, all your feedback. Join us in the Facebook group. It's been amazing. We plan on keeping this going as long as you keep listening, and plenty of stuff to talk about. There's going to be more and more stuff to talk about. So we're very thankful. So thank you guys all so much for joining us on this episode, our 100th episode. And with that, I'm going to give it to Victor to play us out.
Yes. Thanks. I can't, everything. I'm just echoing everything that Chris has just said. Can't say it any better. So on that note, I want to remind you guys to punch it, as Han would say.
Punch it.
And we will see you next time right here on the Galaxy of Geeks live stream podcast. See ya.